Welcome to LifeChangers, a program designed to give solutions to the problems of daily living. My name is Kondur Abraham, and today I will be talking to you about premarital relationships. Marriage is like a commencement ceremony in some ways. It is the beginning of a new and exciting life, which begins on the day of marriage. Once a girl who was about to be married remarked that everything around her had a brighter look since she met her fiancé. Things are different after marriage, and there is definitely a new sense of joy and excitement in basically everything. There are suggestions that a marital relationship begins on the day of wedding, but it takes 5 years to learn how to be married. It has also been said that when a couple is going together, they spend much of their time in romantic fantasy, but after marriage, they discover themselves to be in a problem-solving reality. I would like to list 10 problematic areas of marriage. This is according to Dr. Richard Dobbins. 1. Communication. 2. Unrealistic expectations of marriage or spouse. 3. Power struggles in reference to decision making and money. 4. Serious individual problems. 5. Role conflict. 6. Lack of loving feelings. 7. Demonstration of affection. 8. Alcoholism. 9. Extramarital affairs. And then finally 10. Sex. Couples who are able to work cooperatively as a team will have an easier time during their marriage. Flexibility is also important. How far we can bend and blend are attributes that can definitely help. One question that we may want to ask is, do people who know us best see us as rigid, inflexible, and stubborn? One thing to watch is idealizing the partner too much. Marriage partners are real human beings. Marriage can bring out both the best and the worst of our lives, and it is good to accept that fact. We have heard about the need for open communication. Yes, your mate cannot read your mind. Tell him or her what you want. Don't dwell on the notion that he or she is supposed to know my feelings. Enter marriage anticipating differences. In the beginning, you may think that you both are very much alike, but that is likely to change as time goes and as the demand of family life increase. Be willing to accept each other's mannerisms. You may not like how your spouse throws his or her dirty clothes in the wrong places, or you may not like the way he or she behaves in the public, but be tolerant. Avoid any temptation to criticize your partner. Nitpicking, especially when it is overdone, can distance a relationship. Be encouraging when you make corrections and be gentle. Choose your words carefully. A wrong word said at the wrong time and place can have the effect of an atom bomb. I'm with a group of students from St. Thomas University, Miami, Florida. They're all from different countries, from different cultural backgrounds. And I'm going to ask them what their cultural expectation is when it comes to premarital relationships.
Hi, I'm Rong. I'm from China. This is my second year in St. Thomas doing my master's degree. Thank you.
I'm George, and I am a senior getting my bachelor's, and I am Catholic.
My name is Elizabeth, and I am working on my master's degree, and my background is Hispanic.
My name is Ebony. I'm working on my master's degree, and I'm African American. my name is Gülşah. I'm in mental counseling program. This is my fourth semester here. I'm from Turkey and I'm Muslim.
Wow. Well, welcome. Okay, let's do this. Talk from your cultural perspective. Okay. Now I know all of you are singles.
Yes.
From your cultural perspective, what are some of the expectations when it comes to premarital relationship? Who would like to start?
I can start.
Okay.
Okay. There are different expectations actually. For men expect their wives, before they get married, their wives to be virgin.
Uh-huh.
This is the first prior thing, you know.
Okay.
And then they expect them to cook
Okay.
and clean the apartment, take care of kids,
Okay.
do the whole work except working. But if the woman decide to work, you know, and make money, they're okay with that. But they don't usually accept them to make much more money than they do.
Okay.
For women, they only expect that, you know, men make money, good money, for taking care of their kids and the family. And that's it.
Okay.
Not much expectations.
Okay.
Most of the marriages have problem because of this, you know, family issues. Because you know what, maybe in their mind, maybe subconsciously, they just can't get into, you know, their marriage. They always think that, you know, their family is their moms and dads, and
Okay.
they always, you know, bring the family issues, their, you know, moms and dads issues, and talk about their wives and kids and make another issue for their own family. And, you know, argument starts with these things, and they usually get divorced because of these reasons.
Uh-huh.
This is the biggest issue actually.
Now, your parents won't have any objection if you do dating
No,
before marriage?
no.
How
Actually,
about-
they encourage me.
Oh, okay. How about
If they, you know, believe that my boyfriend is a good guy,
Okay.
then they're okay with it.
how about premarital sex?
Honestly, I'm okay with it, but culturally, it's not acceptable.
Okay. Ebony.
Okay, well, from the African American perspective, before you get married, it's acceptable for you to live with your partner without being married, to see how you guys would interact. And most, from my experience, well, you're expected to be the wife, but not with the legalities of it. Like you are expected to clean, cook, take care of the house, the bills and everything, and he's expected to make the money. And you just take care of the house, and he takes care of the outside. So, but as far as the family with premarital sex and everything, it's not no parent wants their kid to be like having sex or like before they get married. Because I'm Baptist, and in the church, that's all they preach. Okay, you should not have fornicate. You should be married.
Unless you're
How-
like Cuban, though. Because when it comes to me, my dad was proud the day that he found out that I was no longer a virgin. That
Yeah,
was
but
like-
you're a guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're a
That's like
guy.
when it comes
So
to
there are
that,
those
you know.
cultural differences.
Right.
Boys can do it, but
Yeah,
girls cannot.
yeah, always boys, yes. Like my dad, for instance, it was always acceptable for my brother to have more than one girlfriend, or he's supposed to, because he's a
Okay.
man, he's a guy.
Right.
However, I was not allowed to have a boyfriend or to speak to boys on the phone. But I guess it's a cultural thing and a guy thing. You want your daughter to always be your little girl.
Okay.
From a Hispanic cultural perspective, it's very similar. The role expectations for the female are the house, the kids, the keeping the house up and tidy. For the male, it's making the money. I think now that I'm kind of Americanized, those roles are a little bit changing. Premarital sex is totally not acceptable at all. A lot of my friends just deny it from their parents until they have an established relationship and they get married, and then that's supposedly when it happened. But obviously behind closed doors, everybody knows that that's not the reality of it.
perspective. I have to agree with both of you that it does tend to be that way. And I'm Cuban and I'm Colombian. So my father's the Cuban one. So the Cubans, they tend to be there's a lot of machismo, like very manly. When you do things, he has to be the one, in charge of everything. Like it would be difficult for a male Hispanic to make less money than his wife, because you need to have that kind of like upper hand, I guess. But at the same time, I think that I personally, from relationships that I've had, I've been with a lot of, I think, American girls that have no Hispanic backgrounds, and they're very okay with the splitting of the bill, and it's crazy to them to think that I would need to pay for everything. Like that, I think that bothers them. They want to have some kind of a hold on the relationship, and they feel that if I pay for everything, or if I'm the one in charge of this, in charge of that, I'm almost like pushing them down. So I have learned to be a little more, uncontrolling, I guess. So when it comes to the bill, I'll let her pay for the tip, or something like that. But yeah, with my culture, there's a lot of.
Because Latinos expect for the person that they're dating to take care of everything.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
it was nice to know that she wanted to offer. Even the offering is like amazing to me. I was like, wow, you want to pay for things? That's great.
Oh, okay.
That's, it's an interesting thing.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. Okay. You can jump in and share more, okay?
Yeah.
Ron, how about you?
Yes, like the relationship is some similar things in China, and but for the marriage, it's something like controlled by your parents. If your parents don't like the guy you dated, you must break up with the guy. Yeah,
Wow.
Because like family, your father, your mother is everything. Yeah, the family is the most important thing in China. So like the Chinese society is very influenced by the Confucianism. Like everyone should like do the same. Like he want to do like if you're a father, you should do the duty of a father need to do. And if you're a woman, you should obey your father. Then if you're married man, you should obey your husband. If your husband dad die, and you should obey your older son, like this. So
If your husband
your
dies,
older
then
son.
you obey your older son?
yeah, like this.
Wow.
Yeah, this is the traditional culture, but now it's a little change, but it's changed like the emotion inside is not changed. Like the Chinese people, if he really loves man or a woman, he was hide in the heart. He will not say that I love you or something. He can do something for you, but he will never say that. It's like some emotion thing. Like
Wow.
yeah.
That is so different because I know from like American culture, what I've seen, if a guy that you like and your parents don't like him, you are drawn towards that guy. It's like the good girl, bad boy scenario. Like a lot of times, like if my parents didn't like him, I was like try to sneak and see him anyway and still see him and wouldn't care. But it's so funny, like family is everything to us. However, we don't
With the
tend to.
Hispanics, I think it's the same way. Like family is a big thing with us.
Family, yeah.
And in reference to like a girlfriend, if my mother doesn't like her, chances are I probably don't like her either though. Like that tends to be that way. I mean, there's always I think with a Hispanic mother in reference to her younger son, she's very like possessive, and she wants to make sure that whoever I'm with is worthy of that. So there's been times that she's been like, well, does she know how to cook? Does she clean? And things like that. But she's gotten a lot better. So as long as I like the person and they like me, then it doesn't seem to be a problem.
What kind of problems arise in premarital relationships? Again, from a cultural perspective, if you can share from that angle.
Money issues,
Money
control. Control. When you have someone making more money, as far as like they feel they can control you. Like I pay all the bills in the household, and what I say goes. Basically. Okay. That's a big issue I found. Money issues.
So this is like a premarital living together.
Yeah, living together
situation.
situations.
Okay. All right.
But I make more money and I pay this bill and I pay the mortgage.
Okay.
So
Okay. Then how is that problem solved?
by basically getting a better job and leaving.
Finding someone else.
Okay, but just try. Well, really, you should try to talk and compromise. But if someone can't even see eye to eye because they have this huge ego, because now I'm powerful, I make more money, and who are you? Okay, it's time for me to.
It also depends on their upbringing,
Right.
how they were raised. You know, if
Exactly.
that's the way that their dad was, then they're not gonna budge.
Exactly.
So initially, when two people meet, what's the thing that brings them together? Is it money?
Chemistry, I
Chemistry.
The
think.
chemistry?
Yeah.
Like how do you
It's
explain
the
chemistry?
I mean, China, the same. It's important is that they come from the same background.
Same background?
Yeah, like,
what-
my father is a doctor.
Okay.
I may marry a guy. His father is doctor, like this.
Oh.
Yeah.
So profession then?
Not profession, like in the society,
Socio-
you're
The
in that
society?
rank.
Okay. Like the status,
yeah.
prestige?
Yeah, like this,
Oh,
something
okay.
like this.
No, you're saying something, Liz.
No, I was saying socioeconomic status.
Socioeconomic
Yeah,
status?
Kind of like in India,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then, how about you in your Islamic culture?
It's the same thing, but maybe it's not the Islamic thing, but like not too long, 70 years ago,
Yeah.
money was the only thing and the first thing.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty tough to say that, but in Turkey, parents, dads especially, usually used to sell their daughters.
Sell?
I'm calling
their
it selling them because they expect their grooms to pay for a
Okay.
bride, and they
Ah.
call it, I raised her up, and I raised her, paid all her tuitions, and I bought her so many clothes. I fed her. I did these things, and you
Okay.
owe me that much money for me to letting you get my daughter.
So it's like it's
You know, it's
dowry,
something-
right?
Dowry.
It's dowry, but the groom pays for the bride, right?
Yeah.
In India, it's the other way. In,
The groom
in some parts of
pays-
India, it's the other
yeah,
way.
Yeah.
Groom
Wow.
pays
It's the
for the
same,
bride,
yeah.
but doesn't pay to bride. Pays to the dad.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and and that time,
Gotta be a Cuban thing like
dads started doing that. Like, if a guy who is in his 50s, 60s,
Yes.
and a girl is 15, 16,
Yeah.
and there's a huge, difference.
Uh-huh.
And if the guy pays much more money than the other guy the girl loves, then he can get the girl.
How much money are we talking about?
Like it was like 70 years ago, but I would say, right now, for a beautiful girl
Yeah.
or an ordinary girl, it's a
The
difference.
price is
For a beautiful girl, you probably have to pay like around 50, 60 grand, something like that.
That's like
To the
US
father?
dollars?
To the father.
You probably get 7.
Wow.
I think you get 7.
No, they don't pay, they don't pay US
They-
dollars.
they
They
don't
pay
do-
Turkish money, but like approximately 50, 60 grand.
They don't do that anymore? Or?
No, thank God.
Wow.
But they used to.
Okay, that's interesting. Do you have anything like that in your culture?
Yeah, we
No.
have dowry.
You have dowry?
Yeah.
Now who pays whom?
And the guy's family pay the daughter's family.
So it's the same.
Yeah.
How much money?
It depends the guy's family if he's rich or if they really like this girl. Yeah.
Lot of money?
Not that lot of money, but they buy some things. Like
At
they,
least
yeah,
this
they
is
buy.
fair,
How much
If it
do you
depends on the
expect
girl.
to get?
I wish they can buy a house. Yeah. Something happens there. They buy cars, buy house, or buy everything. Yeah.
Wow.
Because before when you marriage, you need moving to the guy's family and live together with his mom, and you take care of everything. You cook, clean. But now some girls don't want to live with the guy's family, so they buy house. But the money come from the guy's family.
Yeah, but at least yours is fair because it depends on the
Yeah,
guys. the guy's families pay, money, how much money they
Yeah,
make.
yeah.
Right.
But in my culture, it was like, if you have money, you can get the girl. If you don't, either, you have to give up or steal. This is how it is, because this is the girl worded, if the girl worth it like 50 grand, you can pay less than 50 grand. Either, you can afford that or not.
Or forget about her.
Wow.
Yeah. Forget about it or steal.
Or steal the 50 grand.
Let me ask you just one more question. In your families, original families, what do people fight over? What are some issues? Again, from a cultural person, what are some things that people fight over?
I think like Hispanic ones,
Yeah.
they tend to fight over power.
Okay.
Like who it is that's in charge of the household.
Oh, who is in charge? Who is in control?
yeah.
Okay.
My mother, she because my parents are divorced.
Yes.
But since they divorced, ever since then, she tends to be the one that likes to be in charge of the household throughout her, because she's had 2 different separate marriages.
Yes.
And that she's gotten divorced, and now she's remarried with my stepdad. But she still likes to be the one that calls the shots. In other words.
Yes.
Even though he's making more money than she is,
Alright.
she's the one that's organizing the bills and making sure that everything gets paid. And I think without her, he wouldn't be able to do his job. So it's kind of like that give and play. But she got a lot of that from my father, because my father, throughout their 20 years together,
Yeah.
wanted to be the one in charge of the house, and also with Hispanics, they tend to take care of like their own family. So my father would not only pay for us, but he'd also pay for my grandparents to have their own house and be taken care of,
Oh.
and for my mother's parents.
Oh,
So-
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Now, in Chinese families, what do people fight over?
They fight for some relationship, like some issues. But it's an interesting thing that in Chinese family, women always hold the money.
They hold the money?
Yeah, like in my family,
Yeah.
my parents and my father said, if there are big issues, they will take off, and there are little issues that mother will take off. And but
Take off means?
take care.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
okay.
And then, but my father said there's never happened a big thing in my family, so my mother is in charge.
So mom keeps all the money? And dad has to come to mom?
Yeah, every month that, yeah, my mother holds my daddy's credit card. Yeah, so my father don't have any financial. Yeah, I don't know, but many friends of mine, their families like this.
Oh, really?
Money
That's
hold
great.
Yeah, it is.
How
Not
about
for
in your
me.
family?
China.
Thank
In-
God
in general,
my parents don't fight anymore, but they used to fight because of my dad's family and my mom's. When I was a kid, I remember that I called, your dad's and your mother's parents are both your parents, like you are relatives,
Right, right.
But when I was like 7, 8, I really remember that because I called only my mom's family as a relative.
Oh,
Because I thought that my dad's family were strangers.
why?
I don't know, because they fight over all this stuff, because if my dad tries to, help them financially, support them financially, my mom insists on not doing that. If my mom wants to help, her own family about something, my dad insists on not to do. And, they fight over all this stuff. But then finally my mom gave up and they don't fight anymore.
Well, quite interesting. Well, we learned a few things today, right? One is in some countries, women collect all the money,
Never was suspected that.
Yeah.
and people fight over money
Yes.
and power.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for coming, and hopefully we'll meet again.
Thank.
In a quarrel, remember to follow these steps. Stick to the point. Don't fight dirty, and learn to negotiate and compromise. Share the responsibilities at home. Some of the heated arguments in families are usually over responsibilities that are not equally shared. Be realistic about your expectations from each other. Most women expect their husbands to be romantically affectionate, a great provider, a good father, and a spiritual leader. It is okay to expect all of this, but be understanding if your husband doesn't match up to your expectation. Most men want their wives to be a good housekeeper, a good cook, a good mother, and someone who shares recreational interests. It is okay to expect all of these, but be understanding if your wife doesn't match up to your expectation. Be sensitive to gender differences. Here are some differences. The male body is designed for weight bearing and the female body is designed for childbearing. Physically, adult males are stronger than females, but adult females are sturdier than males. Usually, females live 7 years longer than males. Our culture permits its males to be more expressive of their aggression and females to be more expressive of their emotions. When the wife is in tears, her husband may not know how to comfort her. There are also some similarities. One major similarity is that in each of us, there are both feminine and masculine characteristics. Depending on the ratio of masculine or feminine traits that we possess, we will appear to be masculine or feminine in our behaviors. We don't have to know everything about our partner. First of all, let us accept the fact that we will not know all about our spouses. And we don't need to. A great part of our personality is under the surface, submerged in the world of the unconscious mind. The root word persona means mask or what we put on the outside. We can only respond to what we know and what has been communicated to us. Discover ways your mate needs to be loved. Accept marital life as a calling. Be a good steward of your election and calling. Finally, be a promise keeper. In other words, remember the covenants that you made to each other for the rest of your lives. Beauty might fade, health might fail, and wealth might disappear. But remember to be there for each other. Friends, thank you for tuning to Life Changers. I hope you'll take a few moments to let us know that you watch this program. Our website as well as our address will be on the screen, and please respond to us. Earlier in the program, I had a unique opportunity to discuss premarital issues with a group of students, and we talked about a number of things. And I hope that was interesting to you, and there will be more programs like that in the future, and I hope you'll tune in again. Thank you. This is Dr. Abraham saying goodbye, and the recording engineer is Rodrigo Fernandez.